Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Reads his Marvel Comics in Order. This is episode 29. I was going to say issue. This episode, we look at Fantastic Four, number 170. This one is the third of a three-issue run with a three-issue story with Power Man taking Ben Grimm's place in the team because Ben Grimm, after being exposed to the Hulk's gamma radiation a few issues back, the Thing is gone. He's reverted back to human. This came out May of 76, I'm guessing. Well, the cover says May. I forget how that works. It's probably like a couple months earlier than that it came out. Probably like March or April of 76 it probably came out. This one is particularly noteworthy because this is the beginning of George Perez's run. He did a couple fill-in issues a little while back, and then series regular Rich Buckler came back, did a couple issues, and then he was done. He left to go work on Deathlock, and now George Perez is the regular series artist. Now, I have a hard time spotting that this is George Perez's style for the most part in these earlier issues. There's a few things that give away that it's George Perez, and I'll point them out as we go. But for the most part, this could just be Rich Buckler still doing the pencils. I mean, it's still Joe Sinnott doing the inks, so maybe that has a little something to do with it in my mind. But I was never a George Perez guy until later on. Like, I think it was in the early 2000s when I finally read the Teen Titans and realized, wow, this George Perez guy is really awesome. But there's a few things in here that to me say George Perez, but for the most part, I don't really see it. This is Ben Grimm, and this is the Thing. This is a suit that Reed Richards made so that Ben Grimm can still be a member of the Fantastic Four. As you see here, his head pops off. And it's just a suit, so he can climb in there. Now, in the last issue, Power Man went crazy for some reason. We don't know why yet, but we're about to find out. He went crazy and attacked the Fantastic Four and took off with their Fantasticar. Johnny got hurt, sprained his arm in the fight. Ben tries on his suit, and he tries out his strength. Now, and it turns out that he's got the suit gives him almost the amount of strength that he had when he was actually the Thing. Now, here's what gives away George Perez to me is this. He's got his own version of what they call the Kirby crackle. There's always a lot of little dots along the edges of any kind of energy. And to me, that looks exactly like something George Perez would draw. So that tells me that we're looking at George Perez. Kung Fu was a big thing back in the 70s. Everybody was Kung Fu fighting. Yeah, but Reed eggs him on to give him a real test of his new suit's strength, and it seems to work. And here's another thing that gives away George Perez to me. Anytime he draws like a hole in the wall, like a hole gets smashed through the wall or rubble, he always does it very, very detailed, and that's what's happening right here. Not to mention a little bit of his Kirby crackle going on in the background. Johnny's getting his arm splinted up. The Thing, he's loving his new strength. Ben Grimm, I should say. There's the old Fantastic Four, or Fantasticar, because Luke Cage stole the new one. So this is the old one. Reed keeps it around just in case. This is cool, like a photo album for your comics. I've seen these, but I didn't realize they'd been around since the mid-70s. That's pretty cool. Grit, newspaper published in a nearby town to where I live, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The old Fantasticar back in action. Now, Alicia Masters, her father is a puppet master. She has a suspicion, and she's gone to the prison where Rikers Island, I believe, maximum security prison. She goes to visit him and confront him. Is he behind everybody especially Luke Cage turning evil all of a sudden. And she's pretty sure it's him, and she tells the prison guards to look in the wall of his cell, and he's got a puppet hidden in there. And but it's too late, because here's Luke Cage. The puppet master has used the puppet to bring Luke Cage to the rescue, to bust him out of prison. He does so, and he grabs Alicia and the puppet master, and yeah, Marvel value stamp this time. I bet you that's Doctor Strange again. Anybody know? Looks like his cape on the right and a tentacle. And the Mighty Marvel checklists are starting to show up more now, which I really appreciate. More karate, more kung fu fighting. Now we get to have a rematch. In the last couple issues, Ben Grimm's been kind of upset and feeling like third wheel, because Luke Cage took his place. Now he finally gets to have a rematch with his new suit with Luke Cage and actually fight him and take out all of his aggression. Puppet Master's desperate to get Luke Cage to beat the Thing and the rest of the Fantastic Four. But even depowered a little bit, the Thing with his suit is holding his own and probably beating Luke Cage at this point. They rock the Fantastic Car. Puppet Master drops the puppet. Reed catches Alicia and the Puppet Master because they fell out. Look at this. This is one of the Hostess Twinkies ads, but the artwork in this is fantastic. It's really like detailed. I can't tell. I wish I could tell who this artist is. If anybody knows who this artist is, please comment, because the artwork is really good in this one. Killraven. Stan Lee in the bullpen talking about doing Comic-Cons back in '76. That's pretty neat. But finally, the puppet sinks, and Luke Cage is free of the Puppet Master's control. So the Thing shows mercy and lets him go. And the Puppet Master is returned to prison. Alicia, his daughter, is really sad about this. They take him back to prison, and she doesn't want to talk about it. She's sad. But Ben Grimm, now that Alicia's father is imprisoned again, and she's all alone, she has no family, and he now is human, he thinks he's going to propose to her. And I think we're getting set up for some heartbreak here, because I imagine he will turn back into the Thing very soon, and that will dash all of his plans of a happily ever after marriage with Alicia. But yeah, another great Roy Thomas penned story in the Fantastic Four. I never really gave Roy Thomas a lot of credit. I always kind of felt that he was very verbose, and not a lot happened, not a lot of action happened in those old comics that he wrote back in the day. But now looking back and reading some of his stuff, he's really good. I'm a big Roy Thomas fan now. Not to mention, he was kind of like the creative figurehead of Marvel at the time. He was basically the editor-in-chief, took Stan Lee's place, and kind of the creative director of everything story-wise happening at Marvel. So it shouldn't be a surprise. I guess I probably knew all along that he was a good writer, but his style didn't suit me much. But yeah, anybody who knows anything more about this issue or anything that I got wrong in my spiel here, please comment down below. I thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.